3 more days until the 5G rollout. Good luck, vaxxed people. I hope it's as harmless as you think everything but the Rona is. Well, sir, whomever you are, this was posted on the 16th of January. As of recording this, it is now the 24th of January, meaning it's been more than 3 days and nothing has happened. There has been no mass vaccinated deaths. There has been no issues from the 5G rollout. It was harmless. Special thanks to Nix, Holly Miller, CJ, Kaorian Mori, Karen Duca, Sarah Bear, L, Kipachi, Chase Howard, Maxine Langkow, Kitty Girl Emily, Devon Kellogg, Top Shelf, Howland Requiem, and Rennie for supporting the channel and supporting my content. Thank you so much, guys. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today we are returning to r/vaxxhappened. There has been some interesting news and interesting things, as well as more moved goalposts, such as now it's the next booster that's going to cause the issues, or now it's a year from now that people are going to start dying. Because whenever a goalpost isn't reached, they move them. Interesting, huh? Let's take a look, shall we? COVID has ruined sci-fi movies. She'll be like, the year was 3004 and aliens were gonna blow up the sun. And I'm like, makes sense. But then it goes, so the world united to, and I'm like, no the fuck they did not. Yeah, the world really seems to have an issue with uniting. There's a global pandemic, it's affecting every country in the world, and countries are like, oh yeah, no, we just like got rid of every restriction, like if people die, they die, I guess. There's a reason this pandemic is still ongoing. Seen on another page, which means this isn't even a first-hand story. Great, what a great start. Yesterday at this place med center, a mum with 3 girls was attending to have the girls vaxxed for COVID. They were aged 6 to 10. While I was in the waiting room, the girls came back out of the room where they had been injected to wait for 20 minutes to ensure they were all right. Within 10 minutes, one of the younger girls' hands and face suddenly tightened. Her neck muscles were straining and she started convulsing. She was uncontrollable. The nurse screamed for Dr. Wilson Chin, saying, "You're the vaccine standby doctor, do something." Then not more than 30 seconds later, the older girl, aged 9, did exactly the same thing. Violent convulsions. The mum was totally distraught. She was screaming in despair. The doctor could do nothing. All the mum could say was, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for getting you injected." The whole scene was utterly horrible. The girls' bodies were taut, strained, hands curled in, neck veins looked like they were going to burst. And then all of the doctors clapped. Yeah, and more stories that never happened. Like, you could have at least made it realistic. I don't get this, right? This whole thing, okay? If you are going to be anti-vax, at least actually get stories that really happened. If you're gonna talk about the dangers of vaccines because you believe they're dangerous, don't make up a story. Because if you make up a story, then you are accepting, straight up accepting the moment you make up that story that there is so little evidence that what you say is true, you have to lie to make a point. That's the entire anti-vax argument, is lying to make a point because there is no evidence to support the point they are making. IKEA, we don't want anti/unvaccinated people in our stores. Anti-vaxxers, hashtag boycott IKEA. IKEA, well that was easy. I've seen this for a few other places as well, some pubs and nightclubs doing this, and people are like, boycott this place. And I just want to say that it's not a boycott if you weren't allowed in the first place. Like, if you get banned from a restaurant chain because of how you are acting, and your response to that is to boycott the place, you're not boycotting them if you're not allowed in, because they weren't gonna receive your service in the first place. Carhartt, you messed up. This is one of the most sentimental things I have. This is my hat, man. It's been everywhere on the road with me, and in almost every video I've ever made. It smells from all the sweat and dirt. It has oil stains and weld burns. Bottom line is, if you've seen me, you've seen this hat. No more. It means means nothing because that company didn't stand for anything. I put so many years of hard work in with Carhartt gear for what? You're not the blue-collar people, the middle class. I burned it all. Never again. For everyone asking what Carhartt did, the Supreme Court just turned down the mandate for companies to make their employees, you know. But Carhartt said, nah, we're still gonna make our employees get it. And that is Carhartt's choice. At the end of the day, as a company, they have a right to do that. I want to point out, you said you're not for the blue-collar people, the middle class, right? Carhartt is a company. It is run by billionaires. End of. Second of all, you burning that hat means nothing to Carhartt. And you know why? It's because you've already bought that hat. You have already given them money and bought that hat. They could not care less what you do with it after you've bought it because you've already bought it. Guess who got vaccinated today? Not sure what's in it, but I'm not doing it. No offense, but you did meth. I think you'll survive the vaccine. Yeah, it's the same as when you see there are pictures. I'll have to try and track one down where people are like, vaccines are dangerous and they're putting whatever in the water and X, Y, Z and poison, and then they're smoking a cigarette. And it's like, do you know what you are saying and doing at the same time? And do you understand how this doesn't track, right? It's like, I would love for an anti-vaxxer to, I don't know, list off all of the ingredients in a McDonald's burger without Googling it. Or, you know, tell me everything that's in a loaf of bread that you just bought without Googling it. Or tell me the chemical makeup of absolutely anything you put in your body without Googling it. I think you'll be surprised at how little people know about what they are actually putting in their bodies. If I die, I die, but I'm not going to be controlled. Meatloaf spurned COVID rules before death. Now, I'm not here to mock Meatloaf. He has died, and as I've said in the past, we don't mock people that have died. I don't agree with his views, and at the end of the day, he took an anti-vax stance, and he died for it. That was his prerogative. But I want to point out something, and this is something that I've noticed now, having made many anti-vax videos in this pandemic, and many insane people Facebook videos, and, you know, etc. We are seeing a lot of news reports of anti-vax people, anti-vax celebrities, YouTubers, podcasters, whatever, dying from COVID. What we are not seeing is news reports of pro-vax people, pro-vax celebrities, pro-vax YouTubers or podcasters or what have you. We aren't seeing news reports of people getting the vaccine and dying. I want you to take a second to think about why that is. Have you thought? If you thought, hey, maybe it's because they aren't dying from the vaccine, then congratulations, you are a regular sane person. Now let's move on. Don't take it under any circumstances. The mark of the beast is an unforgivable sin, and you will get grievous sores all over your body. Many articles have shown that with the shot, it produces abnormalities in babies. I'm gonna need a source on that. Plus, the shot changes your DNA. Writing Lucifer. Wait, like your DNA strands have Lucifer written in them? That's kind of dope. Shot contains luciferase all over it. Hell is not worth it. Plus, the definition of pharmacia is spells witchcrafts and potions. Bible warns against witchcraft and seeking such things. First of all, luciferase not in any vaccines. I don't know where this claim came from, but I've seen this claim a lot. And if you look at any vaccine, none of them contain luciferase. You know what luciferase is? It's what makes glow bugs glow. That's it. It's called luciferase because it literally means to glow. There's no conspiracy there, and it isn't in vaccines. It's a word. At the end of the day, it's a word. And this is a really common thing with anti-vaxxers, is they find a word and think that that's their got you moment. They'll make anagrams out of things that aren't anagrams, and they're like, I figured it out. It's the conspiracy. And it's like, do you really think that a worldwide conspiracy is going to be so dumb as to just put the solution to the conspiracy in the name? Of course they're not going to be that stupid. This is Amelia King. She threatened to bring loaded guns to her child's school on Monday because of a mask mandate. Let's make her famous. Here we have a terrorist. Plain and simple, What we have is someone who believes something and her beliefs don't align with what the government is saying, so she's threatening terror and potentially death to make the government comply with what her beliefs are. That is terrorism. Plain and simple. That's all it is. That's weird. I give blood, but got a call was I vaxxed, and I said no. I was expecting to be told my blood was no longer worthy, but instead of that, the woman practically begged me to give blood this week. Anyone know what the deal is? Unvaccinated people's blood can help reboot the vaxxed immune system. It was to be expected. No, it wasn't, because it's not true. I don't understand where this whole, oh, vaccinated people have no immune system anymore thing has come from, because it's just wrong. So I am vaccinated. I am double vaccinated and have had COVID, right? So my immune system at this point, especially in regards to COVID, is pretty bulked up. I have also had a cold not long ago, and I recovered from the cold in like a couple of days. My immune system is in no way compromised. I am absolutely fine. So this whole like, oh, vaccinated people have no immune system and the unvaxxed are gonna have to make up for it, it's just wrong. And it makes no sense, because if they had any clue how immune systems or vaccines worked, they would be able to recognize how dumb a statement that is. An emergency does not last for 2 years. I would just like to point out the Spanish flu lasted for 2 years. Let's have a look real quick, because I didn't do this in advance. How long did the Black Death last? The Black Death was a bubonic plague pandemic in Afro-Eurasia from 1346 to 1353. So we're talking like, what's that, 7 years? But no, an emergency can't last for 2 years. Absolutely not. I want to talk about Zuby for a second, because I've been seeing this name a lot. He was kind of heralded as like the king by No New Normal. Zuby is a washed up musician and no one listens to his music anymore. His music was never good from the start, and I don't actually know anybody that has enjoyed his music. The only people in the last couple of years that do enjoy his music are anti-vaxxers that enjoy it purely because they know he's an anti-vaxxer. What happened was Zuby was losing his fame and he was losing his relevancy. He discovered anti-vaxxers. He discovered No New Normal, those kind of people. And he thought, there's a market here. He jumped on that market and started saying very controversial things, very anti-lockdown, anti-vaccine, anti, you know, all of that stuff. And so he was picked up by the conservative conspiracy theorists, and back came his fame. That is all Zuby is there for. He does not care about you. He does not care about lockdown. What he cares about is his relevancy, and that is why he says the things he says. If you actually care about what he says, you really need to look into what kind of a person he is. Anti-vaxxer still hasn't opened Christmas presents because he doesn't know what's inside. Man, it must be a real sad existence, living life just terrified of the things you don't understand. Oh, you don't understand vaccines? They must be bad, right? That's how it works. You don't understand something, it's bad. You know, you don't understand LGBT people? Oh, it's the LGBT people that are a problem, not the fact that you can't adapt. What's one thing you learned this year that will stick with you for the rest of your life? There are two types of people: those who believe in doing what's best for everyone, even if it means personal sacrifice, and those who see their own inconveniences as unacceptable no matter what. This is one of those things that I've talked about before, but this point is so valid, and it comes into things like masks. Okay, when you look at the people that fundamentally have rejected masks for the last 2 years and why, their reasons are wispy and weak at best. I wear masks, and most of the people I know wear masks, and we have done for the last 2 years. If it turns out in a couple of years' time from now that masks did absolutely nothing, science comes out and say masks were completely useless and that wearing them did absolutely nothing to prevent the spread of COVID. At worst, I was minorly inconvenienced. At the very worst, I wore a mask and was completely unharmed by the fact I wore a mask. All I had to do was wear a mask for a couple of years. It didn't work, but I lost nothing. At best, it turns out that masks did reduce the spread. I am minorly inconvenienced myself to reduce the spread of a pandemic. I feel like the possible good far outweighs the really, really minor bad. And it's the selfishness and entitlement in people that refuse to do something as minorly inconveniencing as covering their mouth for other people because they don't want to. It's the same kind of people that probably don't cover their mouth when they cough because they don't want to get their hand dirty. Not taking the vaccine prolongs the pandemic, causing more booster shots and helping the big pharma. Until we meet again. This is the thing that anti-vaxxers don't realize. The longer you keep COVID around, the more strains of COVID will come out and the more boosters there will be needed. It's anti-vaxxers that are currently funding the big pharma. It's anti-vaxxers filling hospitals and getting treatments that are more expensive than getting vaccines. It's anti-vaxxers that are requiring lots of medicines because they are unvaccinated. It is anti-vaxxers that are giving the big pharma all of their current money. And that's where I'm going to end the video, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed this. If you would like to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon in the description down below, or you can click the join button on the channel to support me. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.